Okay, Ari, so can you tell me a few words about yourself and the application that you have created? So I will tell the audience more information.
Sure. Okay. So, as you mentioned, I co-founded Actorio about 3 years ago with my partner Marco Lombardo. We were actually Amazon sellers. I was more into private label. He was already doing online arbitrage, and we started to do online arbitrage together. Very quickly, we found out that there really weren't any software tools to do online arbitrage in Europe. There's a few good tools in the US, some in the UK, but really none for Europe, especially taking into account the special situation that we have with Amazon in Europe, which is basically you have multiple marketplaces that are essentially can be treated in one marketplace. And there was absolutely no software out there that could do that. So we started to develop our tools initially to scratch our own itch, which is to say to solve our own problems. And very quickly, talking to other users, everybody said, oh, can we have that too? And this is when we really started to develop the software to provide it as a service for other people. So Actorio is basically, you can think of it as sort of like a search engine for online arbitrage opportunities. What Actorio does is we index about 50 to 60 million products daily. From over 400 suppliers, actually closer to 500 now, suppliers Europe-wide. So basically what we do is we compare opportunities that are off of Amazon to opportunities to sell on Amazon. So this tool is basically does one thing, which is looks as a sourcing tool for people looking to sell on Amazon. And what kind of makes it special, actually, it makes the entire business model special, is we do not do any importation from China. All of our products, 100% of our products are all sourced in Europe from European suppliers. And we have both retailers and wholesalers. And basically what Actorio tells you is how much margin you're expected to make, where you can purchase the product, and what sales volumes you can expect. Obviously, predictions about the future are always difficult, but it tries to predict how many sales you are going to make, because obviously if there's margins in a product, but there is no sales volume, then it's not very useful for you.
Okay, yeah, so this is a really interesting app, I should say. And I was really interested to know why would you develop the application for EU market, not for US market? Because US market is huge and there is a huge demand. Many people are doing online arbitrage. When in Europe, online arbitrage is less popular among the European sellers. They mostly concentrate on private label, as I see. So why did you pick this target audience, like online arbitrage sellers who, sell in Europe? Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, great question. Of course, I'm partially American, so of course I have deep knowledge of the American market. I've also sold on Amazon in there, and it is really a big market, but it's kind of a question. I'm not sure. There's a concept called sort of like red ocean, blue ocean, and red ocean is where all the sharks swim, and you have to compete with other sharks, and it's all red because it's full of blood because everybody's there. And blue ocean is where there really isn't that much competition yet. So the European market, it's true that it's a little bit smaller. By the way, not a lot smaller. There's still, if you look at the European market as a whole, it's fairly comparable to the US. But the big advantage in the European market, even to this day, is really there isn't that much competition. So in the US market, margins are, there's a lot of volume, but margins might not be as high, and there's a lot of competition. So the minute you jump on a deal, you will see 4, 5, or 6 sellers already there. Whereas in Europe, That's not the case. There's still plenty more opportunities, and the market is still, there's much more room to grow in the European market. And the second reason is we live in Europe, so it's easy for us. Shipping is easy. We could, when we started out, obviously now we use a prep center, but when we started, so I'm going to stop here and let you translate, and then I'll continue with my reply.
So what was the second reason behind?
Yeah. So the second reason is more prosaic, which is basically we are in Europe. It's very easy for us to start. When we purchase from European suppliers, we started off by shipping to our own homes. Obviously now we use a prep center, but back then it was easy to ship to our own homes. We could inspect it ourselves and we could start the process ourselves. So, I mean, as an entrepreneur, you always see that, and speaking to hundreds, if not thousands of entrepreneurs, the biggest problem is getting off the ground, is making the first step. So the more steps you have to jump through, the less likely you are to start. And for us, starting was easy. We started at home, we started shipping, we started doing the labeling, and it was very easy for us to sort of get off the ground. And the third reason is really there is no advantage to you that you're going to a large market, the US. And obviously, Actorio, we have our eyes on the US. So eventually, we're going to be there too. But the market right now is Europe is much, much bigger than our capacity to purchase. So we are not limited by the size of the market. We are right now limited by our ability to purchase. So really there is no disadvantage to starting in Europe, given the advantage that there is, a lot less competition and a lot more room to grow.
Okay, thank you so much. And my next question is about online arbitrage as a strategy. So because some of my students, they doubt that this is possible. And you know that it's possible. I understand that. But can you say something about this strategy itself? Can it actually bring the money, like give the money to us as sellers?
Yes, absolutely. If you start trying out Actorio, you will see very quickly that you can decide what kind of ROI, return on investment, you're looking for. And usually we recommend to go for an ROI of, say, between 20 and 30%. Now, this ROI that Actorio will give you in the software is basically an ROI for like 1 month. Okay. So if you multiply that on a yearly basis, you're talking about ROI of, say, 300% yearly. And of course, that depends on the fact that you keep on, purchasing and buying and purchasing and making your money work. But basically, you're talking about, ROI on your own business of 300% is something that, only nobody can offer you outside of that. So there's definitely margins there. We have the experience there. The mere fact that Actorio exists is kind of proof that the business model of online arbitrage works, because 100% of our clients that are using it see a benefit and see a return on investment on the money that they're spending on the software. So that in and of itself should be proof that it works. Actorio doesn't make its money doing training. We only make our money from people renewing their subscription, and people would only renew their subscription if they were making money online doing online arbitrage.
Yeah, that's really the true. This is the good proof. The one question that I had from my students regarding the calculator. Do you have any built-in calculator on the app to calculate the margin? Because maybe I missed it.
Yes, absolutely. So every product on Actorio will show you the exact margin. Now, this is not your grandfather's Amazon profit calculator, which is not very accurate. The Actorio calculator works very, very well, and we encourage all of our clients to use that and to actually not use the Amazon profit calculator. And the reason is that not that we do any magic, simply that Actorio knows your tax situation because you have to set it in your settings, and it knows what kind of shipping you do, if you're doing pan-European, if you're doing EFN. So when Actorio displays a profit of say 10 or 15 euros, that is real profit. So this is really net profit. And this is very, very important because it means that when you do a purchase, you don't have to worry if you're going to make money or not, because Actorio does a extremely accurate calculation. And of course, inside Actorio, it shows you a detailed view of exactly where your costs go. And even if you can drill down into your Amazon costs and know how much is referral fee and how much you're paying for shipping and storage.
Okay, great. Let's move on. My next question.
Just let me add one more thing, is that for us, because in Actorio, and I don't want to turn this into an ad for Actorio, but there is one thing that's because I know that we at the end of the day we just want people to start doing online arbitrage. Sorry, is that when you oh shoot, I lost my train of thought. Yeah, when you sign up for Actorio, Actorio does give you 14 days free trial. So your audience will have access to 14-day free trial, which is really completely free. And we also offer free training on that time because we believe that we're going to have success when our clients have success. So as long as our clients are making, so our number one interest is for our clients to make money, because when they stop making money, they stop paying. So for this reason, we offer the 14-day free trial, and we also offer a free live training that they can join at any time and answer any questions that they might have.
Oh, great. I didn't know. And how can they join the live training?
I'll send a link. Let me see. I'll send a link. We currently offer in Spanish, English, and Italian. So let me send the link here.
Okay, that's really great. Yes, I will share the link with my audience, and yeah. So let's move on to the topics that to the questions. So in terms of the European market, so what market would you recommend to concentrate on in Europe? Because you're based in Spain, so obviously you have experience selling in Spain. But where should the European seller concentrate on the most time?
Okay, great question. So I would separate that to basically two parts, which is where you purchase and where you sell. So in terms of where you purchase, I would recommend, especially if you're starting out, to start wherever country you are domiciled, right? So if you live in Germany, start purchasing in Germany. If you live in Spain, start purchasing in Spain. Now, if you live in like a smaller marketplace like Holland or Austria or one of those, then yeah, you'll have it a little bit more difficult, because then you will want to establish purchasing in one of the other major countries, either Spain or Germany or Italy or France. But if you are in any one of the major markets, which is Spain, Italy, Germany, France, or the UK, of course, then you can just start off there. Now, in terms of selling, and this is something that might seem a little bit scary to some people, we recommend selling on all marketplaces from day one, because I want to dispel one very important myth that stops people, which is that you need a VAT number in a country in order to sell in that country. And that's just not true. So you can sell in all European marketplaces from your home country. You might have to register for what's called OSS, one-stop shop. In the beginning, you don't even have to worry about that. So once you get to have to register OSS, you can do that. But you start by selling in all marketplaces and purchasing at your home marketplace.
Okay, thank you. So my next question will be about Spain. And I would like to ask you some, I would like to give you some advice about the start selling on Amazon Spain. If you are here, live locally, so you are the resident of Spain. So what are the options to register as a business to sell on Amazon, and how it works? So just the information that you know. Thank you.
Sure. Okay, so in Spain, if you are what's called so in the UK it's called a sole trader, here it's called an autónomo, then you depends on who you ask. You either can or should be on what's called recargo de equivalencia, which basically means that this is it's kind of an old model that was created for people who were basically selling stuff out of the back of their truck, and some of them were even illiterate, so you couldn't even expect them to calculate their VAT. So basically, what the Hacienda, the revenue service here in Spain, did is it said, okay, we're not going to complicate you with doing. We're going to tell you you have to owe us a certain amount of VAT, and whatever VAT you charge from the client, you get to keep. Okay, so you pay, say, 250 euros a month VAT fixed, and anything that you charge, you get to keep. So this means that if the ticket item is 100 euros and the tax is 21, usually you charge the client 121, and then you pay the Hacienda 21 euros. In recargo de equivalencia, you get to keep all the 121 euros.
So basically, they, if, for example, I sold the product for 100 euros, I charged 21% VAT. So in my accounts, so this is like my revenue, 121. So I do
Correct.
Yeah. Okay. So, but in terms of VAT, so they require us to pay VAT anyway from this 121.
No, so we don't pay VAT. We charge 121. 121 is our revenue, and that's it. There's nothing else required.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah. No, but I also want to caution people, because it's not. It has some disadvantages, and it's very important to understand that it's not as profitable as it first looks, because that means two things. First of all, you cannot offset the VAT that you purchase with the VAT that you buy. So now, if you flip it around and you say, okay, if I pay 100 euros for an item, I now have to pay 121 euros plus 5.2% of this recargo de equivalencia. So I actually have to pay 126.2 euros for 100 euros purchase. So obviously, if my margins are very big, it's still profitable, right? So because if my margins are very big, then I'm selling a lot more than what I'm buying. So that's very good. The other disadvantage is that we can no longer expense our expenses. So if you're used to expense like maybe electricity, maybe some of our rent. I understand that some of your audiences are very knowledgeable in terms of tax. So all of these expenses I can no longer expense. So if my expenses are low and my margins are high, it's a good business model. If not, then you want to take a look at it very carefully.
Okay. So, and if you sell as a company, as a Spanish company, or what would you recommend? So it would be much easier, right? So nothing like that.
Yes. So if you sell as a Spanish company, then we're back to what probably most people that are familiar with are familiar. So that means that the VAT that you charge, you have to give to the government. And the advantage is that every VAT, all the VAT that you purchase can be offset for the VAT that you charge. and you can expense all your expenses, including, so you can offset your home rent and part of the electricity bill, and there's a lot of stuff. Talk to an accountant. I'm not an accountant, but definitely there's a lot more stuff that you can set off.
Okay, so and it's just the question from me, right? Because some of my students, they purchased a course from tax, I don't know, advisors, because they are not even accountants, and they think that they know everything about Spanish taxation. And they want to file reports themselves. So, what would you advise to these students?
Oh, I hesitate to offer advice. My personal view, I am a Spanish citizen. I've been living in Spain for 20 years now. I speak fluent Spanish. I sometimes, if I'm lucky and if I get up early enough in the morning, I can be confused for a Spanish person. I would never dream of trying to do the taxes myself. And two reasons. First of all, the Spain tax code is extremely complicated. This is, this is not the UK. This is not Germany. Things are complicated here. There's a lot of rules, and you want to make sure that you have somebody that really is up to date, and things change, right? So you want to make sure that there's somebody that takes care of it. The other thing is more a question of, when you are an entrepreneur, the number one resource, the most expensive by far resource that you have is your time. So if you are going to spend time doing your accounting, you will not spend time doing other things. And accountants are not expensive in Spain by any stretch. If you're an autonomo, you're maybe taking a look at 80 euros a month. If you're a company, maybe 120 a month. And believe me, it will take you a lot more time. And just one more thing, and then I'll let you translate. In general, in entrepreneurship, you have to figure out how much is your time worth. So for me, I calculate my time at 100 euros an hour. If you want, you can calculate it at 50 euros an hour. Calculate how many hours you're going to spend on your accounting that you can do doing other things like growing your business. You have to learn how to delegate. And this is especially true in online arbitrage, because apart from accounting and other things, you're also going to have to delegate some of your tasks with online arbitrage. Because if we're talking about people who grow to 100,000, 500,000, €1 million a month, and we have clients who do that, they are all masters of delegation. They figure out, they learn a task, they do it themselves, they learn it very well, and then they immediately hire a VA to teach them how to do that. There's a lot of tasks that are boring and repetitive. You don't want to be working as an employee in your business. You want to run a business.
Thank you, Ari. This is really interesting. Well, my main thing that I'm really interested in the European market is the growth and demand. And when I look at the market, US market, I also sell in the US, of course, right? Like you can send from China just some stupid product and it sells. Well, in terms of European market, so where do you see the demand and growth? Because, for example, like Spanish market is a bit small. And when I compare demand in the niches where I sell in Germany, in the US, so I see the huge difference in numbers. And this, like the difference, it's not like in a few thousand, it's in tens of thousands, like the 60,000 volume search in Germany, and in Spain it's only 4,000. So I just wanted to ask you about your opinion about the growth in Europe, and what is the potential, and should we start and take the niche in these new markets, like keeping, being the first, or going into the biggest market and immediately, like getting the big revenue? So just your vision of business in Europe on Amazon.
Sure. Okay, so at the moment, for now, on our business, Germany by far is the biggest market. I'd say 40, maybe almost 50% of our business is done in Germany. Germany, there's a bit of a snag lately because the Germans have recently implemented an extended product responsibility, which is, I'm not sure we want to get into this now, but it basically increases your cost of doing business in Germany. It's worth it. We bite the bullet and we are selling in Germany because simply it is by far the biggest market. But we see a lot of potential growth in Spain. Spain is growing. Amazon has a very strong brand presence in Spain. Everybody, apart from, maybe a few people who dislike specifically, but that's a very, very small number. Spain is growing and growing fast. I think it's going to be, I don't know if it's going to be as big as Germany, but definitely it's growing a lot. Apart from that, the biggest market in terms of selling after Germany, I would say France. And the UK is very big. We don't sell that much in the UK. We sell we sell more than Spain, but we don't sell as much. But the UK is, I'd say, the second biggest market after Germany. France and Italy is also very, very big. And of the big four, Spain is the smallest for us for selling. But we do our purchasing exclusively in Spain. We don't purchase anywhere else. And that for me is, so you really want to be in all marketplaces. So it's really not a choice that you should be making. You should be in all marketplaces. So it's more in terms of interest. But since you're going to be in all marketplaces, you don't have to think about it. Just be in all marketplaces. And when Spain grows, fine, then you'll enjoy the growth in Spain as well.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I can agree with that. Yeah, and maybe Spanish are very lazy, like with mañana, so they a bit putting it off. But we'll see how it works. Okay, so I will have a look at the questions. We have a question about the deals that Actorio finds. If there is a deal that we find on Actorio and we start selling it, so it will be like open to many sellers and we might get a lot of competitors immediately. So what do you think about that? So just before, so they send to Amazon and then, okay, so we have too many sellers. What shall we do?
Yes, great question. Yes, obviously we get that question quite a bit. It's true, Actorio has become kind of the de facto standard for anybody that's doing online arbitrage in Europe. So there's a lot of people that have access to the same information as you. And what we see so far, so in terms of, I'll start from the end, which is basically what we see we don't see too much competition on the product. And the reason is very simple. The ocean is very, very big. Since Actorio indexes 500 suppliers and over 50 million products, it's very difficult for people to run into each other. And when you see products that are, most products, and of course, Actorio will display what kind of competitors. So there's a column in Actorio that shows how many competitors you have and how many of those are FBA. So first of all, I would say that I only consider competitors other people who sell FBA, because people who are not selling FBA, they're never going to win the buy box from me if I am an FBA seller. And most of our products, we see very little. And the reason is that people choose different suppliers, find the suppliers that they like, and it's sort of like naturally distributed, and the ocean is so big that really it's not a problem.
Yeah, that's true. And basically, you know what happens. So once I get your deal, then I go to, you know, to the variation or whatever from the same deal. I can find other deals that you haven't noticed, but I did. So it's actually like the lead to the website, to the product, where you can find more deals, right? So it's not like staying in one deal.
Yeah, so the other thing that I want to comment is that because you mentioned discoverability, and this is something that we've been working on. So we've added a feature fairly recently, actually, maybe not so recent anymore, that's called reverse search. And basically the idea, a wise man once said that when you're an entrepreneur, you don't buy what you can rent, you don't rent what you can borrow, and you don't borrow what you can steal. So in that vein, we have a reverse search that basically enables you to spy on other sellers on Amazon, figure out what they're selling, and will also tell you where you can source, where you can purchase the stuff that they're selling. So basically, you can import a shop, and if some sellers sell, thousands of products, you can import thousands of products, see what the other seller is selling, and also immediately, Actorio will tell you multiple options for each product where you can purchase it. So, by all means, copying the strategy of another successful seller is a very good way to get started, and even after you get started.
Yeah, great tip. So I will translate now. Thank you. Yeah. So we have one question about advice: how to find a good guest star in Spain, because what they found, they charge a lot and they have no idea of OSS. So how do you find accountant?
I can recommend my gestor. I'm not sure he'll be able to take on your entire audience. But I would say let's take this offline and we'll talk about this, because I can recommend my gestor. How to find a good gestor? First of all, the best way to do that is like interviewing somebody for a job, right? So I don't know if you've ever interviewed someone else for a job, but what I would say is, okay, what do you know about OSS? What do you know about IVA intracomunitaria, right? So you have VAT in the European Union. Like, just create a list of questions of what you need to ask, and if they say I don't know, then just move on and find somebody else.
Yeah, so I agree with that. So you can definitely feel if the accountant is knowledgeable in these things. Okay, yeah. So I think accountancy is a bit not our topic, right? Yeah. Okay. Thank you so much. So I really enjoyed our talk, and I learned a lot.
One more thing, just if you indulge me, there is one recommendation that I would like to give that very few people know, and we've recently discovered, which is Turkey. The Turkish market is humongous, and it's wide open, and of course, because Amazon wants to push Turkey, it's trying to encourage people to sell there. You don't have to worry about taxation or anything like that. So I would highly recommend, if you're starting out and you're looking and you're stuck and you can't grow, then look at the Turkish marketplace, because it's really big. And of course, Actorio helps you with that. It calculates everything correctly for the Turkish marketplace. So definitely, I would encourage that.
Yeah, I saw, because this is the thing that I switched off, because I don't want to sell in Turkey. I have my vision, because I had orders and they were always pending, like payment is pending, and then they're cancelled. So that was my just experience with Turkish buy. I don't know, maybe they have problems with payment cards or something. So, but I saw that you offer the Turkish as well. So you think it's a really growing market? So we should have a look at that.
No, I don't think, I know. we see the numbers. Yeah, we sell a lot in Turkey, and I see that a lot of people aren't, because they think it's complicated, and Yeah, it's dedicate, a few hours to figuring it out, and by all means sell in Turkey, because that's a great marketplace.
But you send stock to FBA Turkey, or you sell from Europe?
No.
From Europe.
From Europe.
Europe, yeah, because otherwise you need some papers, I think, in Turkey. Yeah, that's interesting. Let me have a look at that, because it just I was always thinking, okay, Turkey is something weird and complicated. Okay, yeah, that's a really cool advice. And because I sell products from Turkey, and I was actually looking at the opportunity to send to FBA Turkey, but I understood that, that I need some documents there. Okay, we have one question. Do you thoroughly check all your suppliers, that you offer us? So are they like the good suppliers that we can trust?
Yeah, so we don't do a full verification process. That's kind of on you to do that. If we had, and this happened a few times, if we get notifications that a supplier is straight out just fraud, then we of course take him off the platform. Not all suppliers are created equal. So a lot of times you're going to see that one supplier has low matches, low quality, or by the time you get there, they're out of stock or stuff like that. And if you find that with a supplier, then, you might want to use that supplier less, or, you have to understand that. There are suppliers personally that are on Actorio that I personally don't particularly like, and I don't mind sharing this with you or your audience. There's people like, for instance, Big Buy, is on Actorio, and I personally don't source from them. But, every time I say that, I have a student that says, no, I source from them, and I'm very happy. Zoo Plus is another supplier that I didn't find very, very good. It's on Actorio, but it's kind of frustrating. So, but, you will have to, that's part of the work that you need to do. I mean, in any business in the world, you have to do a lot of work. And this is the least amount of work that you'll ever have to do in any business in the world. So if it's too much work for you to go through the suppliers and figure out which are good or which are bad, then I don't know, maybe entrepreneurship is not for you. But definitely you will have to go to the suppliers one by one. And when you start, if the business is going well and you're convinced about it, and when you start hiring VAs, the first task that you want to give a VA is to daily go there and scan the suppliers to make sure that you grab the best deal first, because speed really is important, right? The deals disappear faster on the purchasing side than on the sales side. So it's much more common to go and to figure out that the product you want to purchase is out of stock than that it stops being profitable on Amazon, which of course also can happen. So by all means, go through all of them, and as soon as possible, if you're happy with it, hire a VA and get that VA to do it. By the way, another recommendation, we hire our VAs on Upwork, which kind of worked well for us. These days, you can probably even find VAs that have experience with Actorio, although I wouldn't necessarily take somebody that has experience with Actorio, because I prefer to take some, because they might be a little bit more expensive, right? So I'd rather take somebody who's smart and is eager to learn. We have our own interview process. We have a few questions. And after that, you go ahead, you hire a VA and you train them on doing these things, because this really is what separates the girls from the women, or the boys from the men, is your ability to delegate.
Yeah, that's true. And can I ask you about just your recommendation? What's the questions you ask your VA? Just maybe a couple of questions, because this is really important, how to distinguish.
Oh, yes. Okay, so So I won't tell you. I won't tell you all of the questions because most of the questions are pretty obvious. You know, do you have experience? But there is one thing there is one trick that we do, and we found very effective, which is about not at the beginning, not at the end, but maybe 3/4 down. We ask a question of what is your favorite color?
Wow.
And anybody that doesn't answer that question in their reply, we know they're just, they're just mass posting to all of them and they didn't read it. So you want somebody who's details oriented. And the way to do that is to catch them with that question. Anybody who doesn't answer that is immediately disqualified from candidacy.
This is really cool. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you. I will use that one.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's very effective.
Okay, Ari, thank you so much. That was really valuable, all the information. And I wish your project to skyrocket in European market and extend to the US. I hope we can make a meetup in Barcelona in October one day and
Sure.
have a chat and meet in person.
Excellent. And we have the meetup this Thursday. If anybody wants to join in Barcelona in the Petit Palace, I can send you the link to the. You have the link to the meetup.
Yeah, I will send the link to the chat, and I will advise everyone to go. Yeah, so thank you so much, and it was a pleasure to talk. And I hope we'll meet again and have more conversations.
Yes, thank you very much. The hour flew by. I didn't realize it was so fast. It was fun.